Hi. So I'm Anna Imagination of the Healing Garden, and I don't know how this one is going to go. I have an idea, and I want to talk about it. And I really don't know. I mean, I do know. I do want to talk about it. But it's going to be very, very aggressive, dangerous territory because it's me stepping into politics. I think I can do this quite logically. All right, so this is where I'm going to call taboo. That is the name of this playlist, is taboo. Anna on taboo. Taboo is where I'm going to cram all the topics that make everybody uncomfortable. You see, when you step out of the patriarchy, you realize things. You realize a lot. So this is the introduction to my new playlist or podcast called Taboo. Rules. There's going to have rules in here. I love you all. And I love my followers, and I love my supporters, and I love my fans. But I'm not going to pretend that you don't have opinions that are going to piss me off. Likewise, you are going to hear what I have to say, and it's going to piss you off. So here's the rule. As a philosopher, I'm not going to read your comments ever, because this is not for you. This is for me. And if you want your opinions to be heard, you go get your butt on YouTube and you do this. But this is my space. This is my house. And you don't walk into my house and pick a fight with me. Now, if you want to express your opinion, I really don't care as long as it's respectful. And I know this is not going to stop everyone, and I don't care. This is me clearly stating the rules and the guidelines to tell you that I really did not come this far to feel and think what I feel and think on politics and society and abortion and women's rights, and then suddenly decide to keep my mouth shut. You want to know what I am? I survived the patriarchy. That's what I am. Fact. Every man who has raped me was a white man. Fact. I've never been raped by a black man, and I've never been raped by a Latino. To this day, whenever I'm around a white man, I have anxiety. I'm angry. You're not going to see me very angry very often. I say things here that I do not speak out loud, but I'm thinking them. Now, I am an educated, logical philosopher. I am a pacifist. And I still feel anger. I still scream at my daughter sometimes. I still have urges. It still requires constant vigilance for me to make sure that my mental illness remains completely in check. It doesn't take a lot anymore. Sometimes I can actually relax for about 10 minutes. Actually, it's up to a few hours now. But I can feel that period expanding where I can relax more and more, and I can, identity and conscious awareness can sit back and go, I think subconscious mind can run on its own for about 3 hours. Let's actually have some fun. You see, that's what fun is. It's when you stop being hypervigilant. That's what fun is. So I'm going to tell, I'm speaking as a white woman because that's what I am. And I'm talking to you as a white woman who was raised in the patriarchy in a white supremacist town where the only fucking man who showed me any kind of kindness was the only black man. He was a boy. He was like 3 years older than me. You know, I'm sitting here in a town where all my family, all white, just turned their backs on me and let me to my abusers. There was one day my dad looked right at me and I was on top of my rapist. And my dad did nothing. Taboo. Yeah, I'm going to have to put like trigger warnings in the front of these videos because I go ugly and I go deep. Because I learned that when you talk about this shit, your conscious awareness goes up. So I'm going to talk about the abortion I was forced to have, threatened to have. It isn't meant to be pretty in this room. This is where it gets ugly. This is where the feminist in me really comes out. And maybe that's the problem, is I didn't have safe space for my feminist to come out. Because when I get on a political horse, I have a lot to say. Because I have endured the abuse. That's really what I was doing when I embraced the way of the Buddha. I wanted to know how mentally ill friendly the system in New York City really is. Oh, I got to see just how mental illness friendly New York City is. In fact, if you have any kind of a mental illness, newsflash, all of us do, you're, in most cases, going to be incapable of filling out the majority of the paperwork or following the steps or doing anything. So this is me living most of my life as a mentally ill person going, hey, fucking system, you did done fucked up. The mentally ill are the most silenced community. And here's the dumb shit. We're all part of it. Every one of us. Population 100%. And the society and the system is built up so that you cannot function in it if you're mentally ill, which is why it's all breaking down. Imagine that. They get chipped away. They chipped and chipped and chipped and chipped and chipped away at our education. Did you notice? Did you notice? Because in Alexandria, it was this big. Guess what they did 20 years ago? They cut funding for the arts in the school. Isn't that interesting? They cut the funding in the arts in the school 20 years ago, and you just watch the stupidity in this country skyrocket. Imagine that. They stopped learning story. See, when you stop learning story, you lose the ability to communicate. So when they chopped our English and our art and our music, what they took away was our voice. Literally, our ability to step up and speak. They cut out our tongues by removing a little piece of that educational system. Suddenly we all got quieter and we all got more stupid. And crime and mental illness skyrocketed. See how that works. Do I need to show you that diagram again? Education was here during the Roman Empire, and then we cut it down. 20 years ago, they cut funding in the art department across the country. Communication skills tanked, stupidity increased, and crime and mental illness increased. So I'm going to give you a little piece of a logical puzzle. It's called My mind is racing a mile a minute. I know, I left you at a cliffhanger. I have not been allowed to talk about this ever. And it's strange having the safe space to open up and be like, I'm a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I don't like these words. I don't like these titles. I don't know your political system because that is also part of the patriarchy. There are 1,000 little societal plugs that the system incorporated into a matrix to keep it functioning. Self-sustaining. This is my conspiracy theory. Oh, I'm solid with this. And I guess that's really it, because there's everyone learn this. But then I have the background, and I'm telling you, this is what I'm doing. I'm taking down the patriarchy. I'm taking down the matrix. I know how to do it. I'm going to educate you. Here's conscious awareness. Here's the system. Here's what it did. Now, take this little formula that I built. Literally, it's a formula. Program it in, and you will feel your perspective shifting. And by the time you get over here, you'll say, bye-bye, patriarchy, and you'll have stepped out. And now you're out of the matrix. And I know this is going to get a lot of backlash. Freedom of speech. All I'm doing is talking, right? You can see why I'm scared sometimes. And I realized I need to be seen. You guys need to keep your eyes on me. Because if ever I go missing, that is the call to arms. Because I'm here every day. I have to be. I have to be here every day talking to you. Because what I have to say is really fucking important. And I know what I'm doing here. And I'm really scared, guys. So you keep your eyes on me. I can save the world. I have a formula that cures mental illness. The people who built the system are dead. The people who built this system aren't here anymore. They've been extinct for almost 1,500 years. But we're trapped in it. They laid the trap and we're stuck in it. They did not know it was going to be this good. They did not know it was going to get this big. They did not know. I'm so scared. But I will be safe. I will be okay. Because I'm not trying to take down anybody. I'm just trying to free everybody. And we're all stuck in our own AIs. Do you see what I'm saying? Our perspective, our cognitive core, our subconscious mind is the matrix. And it's running on autopilot. And we don't need it anymore. We can put the weapons down. We're just firing at ourselves now. We're just firing at the invisible monsters in our heads. But the system is on autopilot. We all have been brainwashed off of a 2,000-year-old system. I believe that is what the Knight Templars were holding. This conscious awareness, this information on how to take down the matrix. And I believe that they'll know it's ready when somebody steps up and says it. I know how to take down the matrix. I know how. I wrote a formula, a literal, logical formula that, when followed, will adjust your perspective accordingly. When it adjusts your perspective, you will see the matrix. And you're not going to wake up to science fiction. You're going to wake up to a fantasy. And I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited. God, it's so stupid when I think about it. It's so fucking logical. I am leaving an egg, an Easter egg. I have many of them. Have fun finding them all. Yeah. I have embedded my entire life with Easter eggs on purpose. My future self did. It's really extraordinary what I did. And I've been finding them all for the last 30 years, going, son of a bitch, there's another Easter egg. I'm on the right track. You have Easter eggs too. You just need to know how to find them. So I'm going to introduce to you the Great Easter Egg Hunt. At some point, you had the power to manifest. And when shit hit the fans, you manifested something into your future so that you could find your own answer again. You manifested this, which is why you have deja vu. Deja vu is really an Easter egg. It's something from your future self, giving it to your past self to say you're on the right true path. Keep coming this way. Keep following. That is what deja vu is. It is literally a manifestation that your past self embedded into you so that your future self would go through and lay the entire timeline filled with clues on where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. And it's all linked into your identity, which is your frequency and your intuition, which is tuned in very highly to the energy pool where, dun, 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 all the Easter eggs are buried. So when you plug into your intuition, you can feel that, and you can feel it go out, and you can feel it vibrating out in the energy pool, and then you know where to go. Yeah. So count your deja vus, count your intuitions, count how many times you pass things. We're just looking for numbers, and I'm going, why are you looking for numbers when you can look at your deja vu stuff? All it is telling you you're on the right path. Do you all hear it? Everyone hears it. I know you hear that one. You're on the right path. You're on the right path is a message that goes out. It is a message that goes out, sent from your intuition out to the energy pool, telling you that you're going the right way. That if you continue, you will eventually awaken your third eye. And when you do that, you can become a light worker. That's what I'm doing here. That's really what I'm doing here. I am a light worker. I am the light worker. I'm the one standing in the middle of all of them going, this is how we unite people. We're going to need everybody. I have a plan for world peace. I have a manifestation day set up, and I have everybody on board. I am teaching people how to cure mental illness over here. Well, I have my Anna's Elite Club over here where I am literally inviting members, $15,000 a year. They can put their money in. And what that does is buy them a seat to vote for world peace. What this is going to do is there's going to be topics that are introduced. Homelessness, shelters, saving women from abusive marriages where they can escape with their children, hunger, poverty, education, returning the arts, putting philosophy back into our schools, educating man. Once a year, we vote, everybody on the board, on my round table, on what topic we are going to now take all of that money, those $15,000 per person per year, is now going to go toward that cause. And we're going to put it all into whatever we vote on. That is Operation Imagination. While that's happening, I'm going to be using the Healing Garden to heal as many people as I can by spewing out as much information as I can about my triadic healing. The goal is to get this into the hands of everybody to cure their mental illness, to step out of the matrix. While that is happening, the patriarchy will fall. There are people who are not going to like this. In fact, there are two particular things that prevent a person, you're going to love this, from learning my system. And there's no way you can get around it. It's perfect. They have to be humble, and they have to be willing to give up control. If they can't do that, they can't learn it. They can read, they can study, but there's going to be that little part of their brain that's constantly there, their subconscious going, don't look at that, don't look at that, because that's what a subconscious mind does. And because of its programming, those people, their subconscious minds are going to kick into high gear and prevent you from reading. So if you can't understand my work, it's because you're a narcissist. I actually have another program that I'm working on to cure narcissism. And then you can step into my program. But only after you cure your narcissism. So I'm not saying burn narcissists. What I am saying is you're going to have to take another step, narcissists. You have the most work of all. And I know how to get us there. So they will have a separate section. If you read my book and you don't understand it, literally, it's because you have narcissism and you have to read another book. And that other book is going to break down your narcissism so then you can understand, process, become what I write in my first book. Everyone else has had no problems getting it. If you're an empath or an HSP, you have no problems comprehending this. If you're already tuned into the energy, you're set. You are 100% all set. If you can sense the energy, then by all means. If you can't sense the energy, you're not going to get it. It's going to be absolutely confusing to you, and you're probably going to be the ones that call me crazy. And personally, I don't give a shit. I'm not talking to you anyway. So, yeah, curing mental illness, putting in place this round table so that if you have $15,000, you can join the table. You must fill out my form. You have to be approved. Approved. There is a process, and I will be putting you through a psychological evaluation of my own to even let you in on the round table. The application fee is $500. That information is available on my website, www.anashealinggarden.org. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, I'm in the middle of just a minute. Oh, I can feel it. I'm in the middle of a vision. My back is just pouring heat. So this is definitely going into the witch's corner. So these videos here, I'm not going to do like a full political playlist. It's going to be a hidden playlist, okay? It's called Taboo. So here's how this works. If you are watching this today, you are probably in the witch's corner. And no, you're in the witch's corner. The reason why I'm giving this to you is because you, my dear little witches, are the first. So I'm going to explain this next part to you because this is where it all starts. This is the first video. Congratulations, you have found the first video. Now, I'm not going to tell you where these are. I have to hide them. I have a vision again, and I can see how I'm going to do this. So here's how this works. I have to hide these videos. I can't just throw up a playlist and call it Taboo. I have to stay hidden. So these videos are going to be scattered as an Easter egg all over. They're going to be on my website. They're going to be in such a place so that they're not going to be easy to find. It's going to take somebody who literally does nothing but consume all of my material. Then you can find them all. This has got to be on a paper trail only because, as I said, I have to stay in eyesight because of the information that I have. There's going to be a whole lot of narcissists in a lot of power who don't like what I'm doing here. That's why I have to become a billionaire, is because I have to be able to fight them. And I want to be a philanthropist when I grow up. I really want to be a philanthropist when I grow up. Okay, it's my dream. That's really my dream. That's why I'm doing this, because I want to be a philanthropist when I grow up. I spent the last year going, how do I become a philanthropist? I want to be a philanthropist. I want to tell people I am a philosopher and a philanthropist. God, that sounds so prestigious. All right, I'm going to let you go. No, not yet. It's just my daughter. I thought it was my roommate. I have not yet learned how to be cool when my roommate comes out. Whenever he comes out, I go, and then when he leaves, I can relax again. What? We only have one roommate. Now, so this, so when he comes out, I like, it's like scatter. How do I explain this to you? I'm building something really big. And I'm taking down the patriarchy. And I have a plan on how to do that. I studied sociology, so I was able to go, what exactly do we need if we want to build a new society? And then I spent the first 30 years of my life dissecting all the different cultures, all the different methods, everything that went wrong. I read more dystopian novels and post-apocalyptic shit. Lord of the Flies was my favorite. And I was able to step back from all of it and go, well, son of a bitch. Future me knew I was manifesting shit and purposely put all of these books exactly where I needed them so that I could accumulate the mass of my knowledge, holistic knowledge. It's a thing. I'm going to teach it to you. And when you have holistic knowledge, you can see patterns. You can see things that no one else can see. So I took all the dystopian books, Brave New World, Animal Farm, Lord of the Flies, 1984, War of the Worlds, Apocalypse Now, the movie Instinct, Heart of Darkness, MASH, Joseph Heller, Prayer for Owen Meany, Les Miserables. And I put all of these books in this mass computation in my head. And then I looked at Star Trek and tried to process where Star Trek had it wrong. Star Trek doesn't have it wrong. Now, an age of exploration, because that is the true praise and celebration of the identity. When you live for yourself and you embrace freedom and exploration, and a person is true to themselves by embracing whatever they desire, because it's freedom of the identity. It's freedom of the identity. So they create a machine, a replicator, that takes care of all of their needs as if it's manifesting. And when we manifest, it's as if we have our own replicator inside of our minds, and suddenly need doesn't exist anymore. Want is all that's left, and the fear completely goes away. And if it's done right, maybe we can avoid a war. I would really love to avoid the war. And the clock is ticking. I see it now. I have been staring at visions of that war for a year, terrified that that was our destination. It's an alternative. It scared the shit out of me, having to see that war. It's an option. We don't have to have the war to get to that point, like they did in Star Trek. We can do it now with my program. We can do it now with my program, but it has to be done a certain way, or it will launch a war. Oh, I had such nightmares over those visions. I stayed awake for days after I had them. I did not choose the way of the Buddha. I went insane because I had to look at these war pictures in my head of a nuclear future. And it scared me to death so much that I created the healing guard because I did not want that future. And I wanted to fix it. And I was terrified if I talked it to anybody that I would manifest it. So I couldn't tell anybody what I saw. I told no one. And I still will not speak those visions aloud because I'm terrified of manifesting them. But there's another way. There's a way to do this without the war. There's a way to do this without the war. I know how to do this. I need you to stay in my eyes every day. That's why I come on here every day. It's like a check-in to say, hey, I'm still here. Now I'm going to lead them to world peace, but there's going to be people who don't like it. There's going to be people who don't understand control because they're too mentally sick, and they're going to fight us. But there's a right way to soothe hostile, abusive people, and we're all going to have to learn this. And I know how because I know what you're dealing with. These are light workers. This is what I'm doing. This is what I saw in my vision in the middle. I saw the healing garden at the center. And I saw all the damage and all the destruction from this war. And I saw the healing garden and the light workers from the healing garden pulling everybody together and uniting them and saying there is only one direction forward, and this is the only way we can do this. So that is the light work that I am putting together. That is what I am building here. And I can't just come right out and call this a regular playlist. Hey, taboo. This is going to be buried in a series of videos that I'm going to hide throughout all of my work. I will let you know which video I'm on. They will be numbered. They are already planned out in a staged format, so I know what the 5th video is. I know what the 10th video is. I know what all the videos are going to be because I have to follow an exact timeline. It's highly sensitive. And if any of that information gets out of order, the goal is to navigate this around the war. The goal is to navigate this around the war so that the war doesn't have to happen. I am really scared. I don't know what this is. I don't understand any of this. I don't know what I know what I'm supposed to do. The reason why I have been avoiding my success is because I know where I have to go. And I am terrified of going there. I am terrified of going there. And it's time. Because when I started my journey, the future was here and I was here. Are you paying attention? This is shadow work. And I laid a couple plates and this got closer. And I laid more plates and this got closer. And I laid these plates and this got closer. It has been doing this for 40 years. Now, they're this close. I can see days into my future. I can see next week. Before, I could only see decades away. And then I could see 10 years away. And then I could see 5 years away, 2 years. It's a countdown. I'm not an idiot. It's a countdown. And I'm almost there. That's really when I started to manifest on purpose, big time, because I realized that that's it. It's knowing exactly what path you need to lay out ahead of you to predict 10 chess moves ahead, 30 chess moves ahead, 30 years of chess moves. By the way, I really love playing chess. And that's what I've been doing, is playing chess with the universe for 30 years, manifesting to this point. I want world peace. That is my intention. That is my intent, to just get world peace. I'm taking down the patriarchy. And to do that, you're going to have to get your conscious awareness up. And if you're white, this is going to be really fucking hard for you. I'm white. No, I'm not racist. I don't know the politics that people are into today. I try and follow it, and I just hear people screaming. I don't have political words to categorize me. I know conformity and I know non-conformity. And that is all that matters to me. Conform or don't. Now, it's not black and white. Some people do enjoy the patriarchy. Fine, just keep it the fuck off of me. See how that works? You can have your damn patriarchy. You keep it the fuck off of me. White man built the patriarchy. White man built the patriarchy. White man took it from the Middle East and those Middle Eastern cultures from 2,000 to 4,000, 6,000 years ago. Read the Bible. Read all the religious texts. Read the Abrahamic religions. I'm sorry, but they were the patriarchy. And Rome loved the patriarchy so much that when they settled that area, they borrowed it. Just like they borrowed the fucking Greek myths. You see, that was Rome's downfall. Rome had a method in its psychology, one very simple method. Divide, conquer, destroy the culture. Because when you destroy the culture, people are slaves. The reason why we have the Dark Ages is because the government on purpose wiped all the art out of the culture. People couldn't read. People couldn't be educated. They dumbed them down too much. And we've been building back that intelligence ever since, barely. And then we got it up to a certain point and we tore it down again, because that's how things are. They're not linear. When I studied sociology, psychology, and philosophy, I also studied Rome, Mesopotamia, late antiquity, all of the ancient Middle Eastern areas, ancient Tibet, ancient India, the Silk Roads, ancient Norway, and every religion in the world, including the mythical ones. I studied the rise and fall of the Christian empire and the rise and lies of the Roman Empire. I analyzed the psychology of every culture. Yes, a society has its own psychological profile. Same thing with a household. A household, every time you combine the energies, you create a new being. So you are you, the individual, and you are you within the family unit, and you are you within your village, and you are you within your state, and you are you within your country. And every one of those versions of you creates a new person, a new psychology. This is sociology. And then you get to see how the psychology of the Roman Empire borrowed from Greek and borrowed from the patriarchy in the Middle West Eastern area, and then embedded it into its culture. And then you get to see how these ideas pulled from Rome, borrowed from the Middle East, just like a virus through the entire Western world that they built this patriarchy on. Really fucking cool, right? And then there was a schism, and a schism, and a schism. Lots of schisms. And then they all went their own way. And because some of the core lessons that were there were, don't be educated. And by the way, this is how you take control of slavery. This is the psychology of a slave. That is really what did a lot of this, actually. When I realized I was a slave a year ago, I needed to know what kind of psychological damage that did to me. So I studied on the psychology of slavery. When I studied the psychology of slavery, I looked up from my books and I looked at all of you and went, well, son of a fucking bitch. Are we all fucking stupid? Hi. I am a freed, domesticated slave. Do you want to know what my home looked like? I was happily married to a husband who I was afraid of. But I was so afraid of him, I couldn't even say I was afraid of him. I had to smile and pretend I love him and have sex with him. And when he said, I want children and you can't give me children, so let's go shoot you up with some IVF, I went, okay. Stockholm Syndrome. When you whisper to your children behind closed doors, you're a slave and you don't even know it. When you make purchases that you then hide from your husband, you're a slave, because a free man doesn't hide. This is the Matrix. When you have a friend over and your friend leaves and your husband goes suspiciously, why were they over here? What were you doing? Were you talking about me? Hi, slave. You think that's free? I'm here. I'm where you used to be. You're not free. You're not free at all. You just chose a situation that you thought you could survive in. My father taught me how to be this way. When he congratulated me for my silence, I went, oh, if I'm quiet, Daddy will love me. That's daddy issues. And how many of us have those? Yeah, I'm a white fucking girl. And I'm talking to all the white girls out there. The ones who keep getting beaten by men and then you run right back to them. I know why. It's because you are convinced that you need a slave master, because they've taken so much of your identity that nothing is left except the man. And you are terrified of realizing that you are nothing. But I'm here to say you are very much something. It's your identity. You just got to go get it. And I know how. That's really what I'm doing here. I have 3 parts to my healing garden. Because I can't just get out of 40 years of prison and just sit back and enjoy my life. I can't do it. I can't look at my sister knowing that she's also a slave and she doesn't know it. My mom knows. I had the talk with my mom. My mom tried to escape 20 years ago. I watched her fuck it up. I learned from her mistakes so that I could extract my children. February of this year, that's where I was. I was extracting my son because my brothers had put chains on the food and were starving him while making him go to school like a good patriarchy man. I kid you fucking not. My brothers took my son and enslaved him with the patriarchy and starved him to get him to cooperate so he'll go to school like a good patriarchy. So in February, after 4 months of enslavement, I had to extract my son. I have not spoken to my brothers or my father since. My son is safe. He has graduated with a GED. Big fucking deal. I really don't care. You can get an education in books. And he has gained about 20 pounds. So my daughter, who doesn't even talk to me because the patriarchy has brainwashed her that much, and when I escaped, she slandered me and called me a whore at my grandfather's funeral. So I've lost my oldest daughter to the patriarchy. I've lost both of my sisters to it. They are both slaves, breeding slaves. My mother knows, and she's literally, I cannot say it because if this video gets back to my father, that's the perspective you need to see. You're a slave, and you don't know it until you get out. Men are gonna switch over, but women, when you switch over, you're gonna get here and you're gonna realize you are a slave. You are a fucking happy little house elf. You're Dobie. You don't even know you're a slave. You love it so much. That's the brainwashing work they did to me. And that's what they did to you. And only people on this side get it. So this is going to be video number 1. I don't know when video number 2 is going to be released. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I just don't know. I do know that for those of you tracking, honestly, it'd be really cool if you reached out and said, hey, and I'll like do a club, Anna's Easter egg club. Maybe I'll do that. I'll talk about it more in video 2. There will be no written material whatsoever on any of this. It's all going to be video. Anna's Easter egg. Oh, I know what to do. I know exactly what to do. How do you tell people that you're selling them the keys out of the matrix? That's going to be a hell of a marketing campaign, right? All right, take a look at my next video. Again, no idea, no plans. This is taboo. And that's all I'm going to call it, taboo. This is taboo. Episode 1.